PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Gang, I try not to be controversial because as soon as you're controversial and you say something or take a stance, then about half the people in America hate you. And man, I don't know when this happened. I grew up a real happy kid. We didn't have a lot. Grew up with my dad. It was dad and I, and my later life in high school and then college, and we didn't have a whole lot. But the things we did together were joyful. I enjoyed college. I enjoyed high school. I got an opportunity to play sports, which was phenomenal for me because just going to school would not have been enough. But all of a sudden I find out that we're stressed to be in one group of people and we're not allowed to see the other side. And if we do, I don't know what's going on. Joy is, I guess right now, not the commodity. It's an expensive thing to have. But I got to tell you, I got enough for all of you. So let me tell you about an experience I had. And I'm going to talk about a couple of other experiences. And I'm going to finish up with the point of the day. So I traveled for business for the first time in a year. And won't tell you where I went, but I met a lady. And we interacted over a 3-day period of time. She asked me what I did for a living. I told her that I was in the Toyota business, sold cars. And she was very happy with the Toyota she had, and she was thinking about buying another car. She wanted to buy a car because she was about to retire. And she told me she wanted a Camry with red interior. And I said, if you love that, you love it, and you should get it. And she goes, well, it's so expensive. So I went to a dealership. I pulled a deal. I brought it back, gave it to her the next day. And now I'm involved in her trying to get this car for herself. In the interim time, we started talking about, where she was going to live, and she wanted to move to Florida, maybe get some property on the water. And I go, property on the water in Florida right now is gigantic money. And I mean, the state is exploding with people moving in. And she goes, I know, she's so expensive. I've been looking around. And I just said, well, I live in Texas. Why don't you try the Gulf Coast of Texas, maybe Port Aransas in that area, Corpus area, a lot less money. You're still on the same water. And, she said, oh, I can never live in Texas. She goes, because the people in Texas are just, they're just one way. And I what is going on? When I moved back to Texas a few years ago, I had forgotten how amazingly wonderful the people in this state are, and the people in the state of Oklahoma, and the people in the state of Minnesota, or the state of California or Arizona. There are great people everywhere. What would cause somebody, an adult, to be afraid to even consider living somewhere in the South because the ideology that was spoken about that area actually terrified them? Where are we? Why is this a thing? So let me bring this back into the car business because that's what we're talking about. So over this last year, during the year of COVID, Courtney and I bought 2 vehicles. Isn't that crazy? In like the worst year in the world to buy a vehicle, we actually bought 2 vehicles. The Tundra that she's always driven, almost 250,000 miles on it. We made somebody in Florida flew one way in, very happy to drive that vehicle back. They're going to love the vehicle. The vehicle is phenomenal. It's a great deal for them. So we thought we were going to give that to one of my sons and his fiance because they were moving to Alaska. COVID stopped that move. So we ended up with that. I bought an FJ in the interim time. And I'll be quick with this. I looked at 5 FJs in the market. No FJs were for sale at any metro or surrounding 100-mile area Toyota store. Not one Toyota store had an FJ over a period of 3 months. I called several general managers that I knew and said, look, I'm looking for an FJ. Find one at the auction or somebody's driving one in and they're thinking about trading it. Trade for it. I'll come buy it. And so I didn't say I'd come look at it or negotiate on it. I said I'd come buy it. If the vehicle checked out through their shop, I'm ready. Anyway, so I'm not a big person that would ever look at a car at an independent. They don't have the right technicians. They don't care. Review, they just lower the price to sell somebody else. And you know how I feel about that. Though the independent dealers out there, it's not the same as buying from a factory back dealer, Toyota or anybody else. So I found 5 in the market that I liked. And there's about 3 that were really exactly what I wanted. I found one The salesperson, I let know, and I've said this before on a Saturday morning meeting, that I'd be there at 2 o'clock. When he approached me out on the lot, he did not pull the vehicle from the inventory. It was still stuck back in the inventory. The vehicle was filthy. I was under it with a flashlight, and he came out and said, "You must be KC. What are you doing under there?" I said, "Climb under, I'll show you." He did. Looking at frame rails, looking at skid plates. I want to find out where the vehicle's been. That's the best way to do it. He could have sent me a video, said, "I've just been under the vehicle. The skid plates are untouched. There's no rust in this vehicle. All the paint is good on this. The interior is fantastic. Mr. and Mrs. Nix, I cannot wait to meet you." And then he jogs out to us when we arrive and everything and brings the attitude. If he would have done that, we'd have bought the vehicle right then. When we went inside, the price was fine. Of the 5 vehicles that I located, because of internet pricing, they were all within hundreds of dollars of each other. So the price was fine. So while we were sitting there, he got up and went out to another customer, said, "I got another customer driving a car." 15 minutes later, we left. We ended up buying that vehicle because there were several we liked. And in order to get us back in, they severely dropped the price. And so I just turned my back on that. We were walked away from there. There was no follow-up phone call. There was no follow-up video. There was no "thank you for your business." There was no "ask for referrals." And to be honest with you, very pleasant man, but it almost seemed like that he really needed a Monster energy drink, a Red Bull, or maybe some pre-workout fuel. I don't know, but it was almost impossible to get him to pick the pace up. So I came back in a second time to buy the vehicle. The price was already negotiated. We're buying the vehicle. I left by walking by the used car manager's office. Chuck, what's up, Chuck? It was Chuck. And I said, "I appreciate you not introducing yourself or coming over and shaking our hands." And I left. No follow-up phone call, no nothing. I expect too much. I expect way too much. Courtney sells her truck. She goes online and she finds a V6 hybrid Highlander with over 100,000 miles on it. And that's what she wants. She doesn't want a new vehicle. She wants an older vehicle. We drive our vehicles 50 to 100,000 miles, and we drive them for almost nothing. That's the way we do it, and we love older Toyotas. It's just, that's what we've always bought. We have no risk when we buy a well-maintained Toyota over 100,000 miles. They're phenomenal. Everybody knows that. She did all the work. She called the dealership. The vehicle was in stock. I called back, set an appointment. She has MS, so she didn't go inside the dealership. She sat in the FJ. I got the car. We drove the car. I negotiated the deal. No video. Vehicle was pulled from the inventory, was clean. No information about the vehicle, no information about how the vehicle operated, no walk around, no nothing. Now, I'm not telling these people what I do for a living. I'm just a buyer. So in both situations, we did all the research. There were photos online. There was information online. That was not done by a salesperson. It was not done by a desk manager at the dealership. They didn't take the photos. They didn't put the stuff online. And they certainly didn't reach out to us and tell us to go and find those on the internet. We did all the work. We did all of the work. And there was no referrals asked for. There was no follow-up. Very happy with both vehicles. Extremely happy with both vehicles. But there's nothing beyond that sale. In the dealership I went to, and I'll be honest, it was a Honda store. And I'll say that because we expect more, because Honda is one of our biggest competitors. It was a Honda store. New and used car departments were connected in the same building. There were 4 salespeople sitting there the whole time I was sitting there waiting to get the deal finalized, to do my paperwork. One guy had his feet up on the table, and there was nothing going on. There was no customers. They didn't bring a car up. They weren't working the inventory. They weren't on the phones. They weren't doing anything. They were just sitting there and waiting for it to happen. And this is where I am with this meeting today, Saturday morning meeting. You've got to bring the energy. If we're selling something new, if you're a Toyota salesperson, and I talked to some of the higher ups with Toyota not too long ago, and a lot of you guys follow me, and you're no longer with Toyota. So I've got thousands of people that follow me, and then people that follow me on YouTube also. And you've left Toyota. And I told the Toyota officials, how are we letting you leave? I want you back. I don't want you going anywhere else. How are we allowing the Toyota people that are phenomenal to leave us and go somewhere else? It bothers me. But I'm selling a Camry or a Highlander or a 4Runner or a RAV4. And everybody else in town or in the state or in the nation are selling the exact vehicle. If it's a white, brand new 2021 Camry, everybody's got one. Or they can get one. And it's the same car. So the only thing that makes a difference is the salesperson. It's the attitude and the passion. When I'm looking at the car, if you've sent me a video and you're jogging out to me and you go, hey, KC, and I go, what's up? And all of a sudden there's a little energy in the room. We know the car's pulled out. I've already made all the inquiries about I really would like to have this car. And then there's a little presentation and we talk about the vehicle. What are you going to do with it? Who are you going to show it to first? And you create this gigantic need and energy in the sale. I'm telling you, when you look at people that go to the next level in this business or in any business or in life, it's all about attitude. So the lady that I met on my trip, we're now, she's following me on Facebook. We've connected 2 or 3 times. She's super excited to go to the store and to be able to drive the car. And I'm super excited for her. So I'm one of these Texans that she's not terrified of. So I don't know where we are in this country and everything, but I'm looking at all of you guys right now, and we base most of our income or our friendships or our lifestyle on what we create and the dynamics that are around us. Most of you watching this are type A personalities. So when there's a party or a group that we go to and we're masked up and we're social distance until 4th of July. When you walk in there, the people in that place really expect you. Listen to what I'm saying. They expect you to be the one to bring the level of the party up. You know what I'm talking about. Everywhere you go, in a restaurant, in a group, on a phone call, they expect you to be the person. They bring you to the events because they know you're going to raise the level of the entertainment and joy at an event. If that's who you are, then you have no problem with any business you go in ever. You're going to create your business. If you're not that person, get up in the morning, do whatever it takes, get going. The last thing I'm going to talk about is one of the places I studied when I first started getting into sales was Walt Disney. There's a Walt Disney University. And the one thing that stuck out to me is there's dressing rooms and break rooms, and they really, really take care of the associates, the people that work for Disney. But when you come above ground, when you come up, they call it being on stage. It doesn't matter if you're sweeping. It doesn't matter if you're a character like Goofy or Minnie or Mickey or Donald. It doesn't matter. But everybody that comes to that ground level where the hundreds of thousands of people come to expect joy, you are on stage. And I'm telling you right now, that's the way you live your life. When you leave your sanctity of your house or your apartment, your condo, or wherever you live, and you walk into a place where you're around and you're creating a dynasty, you are on stage. Bring it. The bigger you make it, the bigger it is. PK52, the Saturday morning meeting.